Hi everyone, my name is Taylor Van Rossum and I'm the Agriculture Water Quality Program Coordinator at the California Marine Sanctuary Foundation. Here at the California Marine Sanctuary Foundation, we work to collaborate with growers throughout the Salinas Valley in order to reduce pollutant runoff into the watersheds, as well as sequester greenhouse gases. This helps to protect the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, which we work under as their water quality protection program. One of the best ways to achieve these goals is to improve soil health in our agricultural lands. For this reason, we have partnered with organizations through California Department of Food and Agriculture in their Healthy Soils Project grants. Currently, we have two Healthy Soils Project grants in progress, and that is with Braga Fresh as well as Dole Fresh vegetables. These are focusing on real-world implementation of conservation agriculture practices in California's intensive vegetable cropping systems. Our project with Braga Fresh began back in 2022 on their Galarte Ranch in Soledad, California. Throughout the past 3 years of this project, we've worked with Braga Fresh to evaluate and implement a reduced tillage system that aims at decreasing soil disturbance, reducing equipment usage, and overall promoting carbon sequestration. Implementing regenerative practices into their organic cropping system is not something that's new to Braga. They've been leaders in the regenerative field for industrial-sized growers, and actually just got regenerative certification for 60 acres on their home ranch in Soledad. A very important aspect of this project included utilizing equipment that was already available to Braga and modifying this equipment. This was very good in order to reduce the cost to Braga, as well as make sure that this practice could be implemented at farms across the Salinas Valley and even beyond, with growers that might not have the capacity to buy new equipment in order to do reduced tillage. Due to changes in management and crop regimes, these tractor passes and tillage depth varied slightly throughout the past 3 years. However, on average, we reduced tractor passes from 26 in the control plots to 12 passes in the treatment plots, as well as tillage depth from 36 inches, so 3 feet deep, to just about 8 inches, so less than a foot deep. This was really huge in preserving the soil microbial community that exists beneath the soil and sequestering carbon into the soil, as well as reducing emissions overall from our tractor usage. We're currently still analyzing our tractor usage data from this past year, so that'll give us a really good idea of how much CO2 per acre Braga was able to reduce and prevent using throughout this project. By preserving that microbial community that lives deeper within the soil, you're helping to improve all the factors of soil health in this case. So you're going to see increases in soil organic matter, aggregate stability, bulk density, and infiltration rate of water. Although you see a decrease here across the board in our soil organic matter, this is mainly due to the fact of the historical way that the land was managed. So in the 5 years before this project was implemented, the land was actually in cover cropping rotations. So as this land was being transitioned from conventional agriculture to organic, it was cover cropped for those 5 years, giving it a very high soil organic matter, and hence why we saw those decrease in the past 3 years doing an intensive cropping system. However, it's important to note that the treatment plots saw almost half the reduction that the control plots saw with their increased tillage. The infiltration rate also showed a very stark difference between these two plots throughout the past 3 years, especially in this past year. I was the one out in the field taking the data measurements for the infiltration rates, and it was very visible and obvious the difference between the control and treatment plots. In this past year, the treatment plots averaged 190 feet per day for infiltration, and the control plots averaged around 70 feet per day. And as I said before, I would be out for much longer in the control plots than the treatment plots, waiting for the water to infiltrate. And this is huge for the success in reducing runoff and also allowing the water to withhold in the soil and be available for crop and plant uptake. However, All these successes are great, but this trial was definitely not without its challenges. Our team experienced many hiccups along the way, including changes to personnel and staff, differing management techniques, market unpredictability, and all the normal fast-paced decisions that come with industrial agriculture. It required a lot of patience and expertise from our technical advisory committee in order to achieve the results that we hope to achieve with this project. Finally, in this past year, we were able to have the treatment plots of reduced tillage outcompete the conventional plots for yield, which is a huge success in the way of using regenerative practices such as reduced tillage in industrial agriculture. These findings really help to underscore the complexity of shifting to reduced tillage in high-value vegetable systems and the need for longer-term trials in order to better understand the benefits to soil health. So, as I said, this trial was only 3 years long, and that's really where you just begin to see the benefits that this would have on the soil long term. And if we were able to do this trial longer, I think we would continue to see that. Despite the setbacks that we faced, I think sharing that these real world experiences is really impactful and can allow others to learn from our experiences and overcome obstacles that they may be facing in order to improve adoption at scale. Switching gears here to our other trial with Dole Fresh vegetables. This one focused on the practice adoption of cover cropping as well as nutrient management. On a 20-acre plot at the Dole field, also in Soledad, California, actually right across the street. These two trials on block 11 and 12 are run side by side. Although we're only in the first year of our trial with Dole, we're already seeing some pretty amazing results. In the nutrient management plots, we successfully reduced nitrogen by 24% in the broccoli crop in 2024. And then the spinach crop of this year, we reduced nitrogen by 18%. So even over that goal of 15% required by the Healthy Soils Project. The lack of nitrogen reduction in the iceberg crop that you're seeing in the middle here in this graph was due to some mismanagement and a lack of us being very on top of this crop. However, it provided a really important moment for communication and learning, and we bounced right back with the spinach crop afterwards, which was really awesome to see. We also saw large improvements in soil health between our first and second growing seasons within this past year. So as you can see in the bottom, that broccoli saw reduced soil health indicators in the nutrient management plots versus the grower standard plots. So that's soil organic carbon, soil organic matter, and total nitrogen down there. And then in the spinach crop of this year, all of those indicators actually improved greatly, and we were seeing improved soil health in the nutrient management plots versus the grower standard. Simultaneously, and probably the largest success of this project for Dole as a growing company, was that we achieved higher yields with both of these crops, even with the reduced nitrogen inputs. These outcomes have really been supported and due to the very careful work of Wilbur Ellis Organics, their collaboration with implementing nitrogen quick tests and making sure to do in-field diagnostics has helped to apply nitrogen the most efficient way possible. This trial really helps to highlight the value of site-specific nutrient application and the importance of grower education for broader adoption of these practices like nitrogen quick tests. Finally, our cover crop trial has experienced a slightly higher yield in treatment versus control plots for our past two crops. We had to estimate this yield based on biomass sampling that was done prior to harvest of the crops, due to the way that our experimental design is laid out, which is not in accordance with how harvest crew goes through and collects yield data. Another learning takeaway from working in industrial agriculture systems. Using these biomass samples, we were able to estimate yield per plot and see that our treatment plots were outperforming the control plots slightly overall. We did see a decrease in soil organic matter and soil organic carbon in our latest sampling from October. However, it's difficult to note whether this is due to the cover cropping system or due to the fact that the soil has been depleted throughout this past growing season. As I said, we're continuing to learn and adapt as we complete these projects. We're gathering an insight into the fast-paced and ever-changing world of agriculture as conservationists, and I think that's really valuable in itself. These trials are really detrimental in helping to transition industrial growers to more sustainable practices, and they require a lot of patience, collaboration, and communication between all of the organizations that are involved. We're very thankful to have been able to work with such an amazing team at both of these companies, and we're excited for the promise that these successes hold. Agriculture really has a true potential to make impactful changes in sequestering greenhouse gases, improving soil health, and helping to mitigate the effects of climate change. But a collaborative effort is really necessary in order to help agricultural growers overcome the obstacles that the industry is facing. There's a lot of pressures on growers in this time to meet increasing standards, and we all need to really come to these solutions together. Projects such as these that can bring science-based evidence and experience and bring solutions to the agricultural industry help to ensure a future of food security and ocean health, and we're very excited to be a part of it. Thank you very much to the Soil Health Institute for allowing me to present on our projects. I wish I was there to present live in the webinar and take questions from you all, but I will be at the Organic Grower Summit at the time of this institute. So please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. My email is taylor@californiamsf.org, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.